Do you know what is the number one hurdle that entrepreneurs face when trying to launch a business? My name is Diana Lizarazo, and my co-host is Matt Goddard. I am so excited for this topic because I think this is the number one problem that we see when launching a business. What do you think, Matt?
Absolutely. I think it's important to recognize that, you know, everyone can have the most amazing idea, but if it only lives in your head or on a piece of paper and action doesn't really take place, then that's just that, just an idea.
100%. And so basically today, really what we're going to be talking about is clarity. What is clarity? What do you think?
Yep. Um, yeah, so obviously I feel like a lot of people before they take any action want to make sure that, what they're doing is absolutely the right thing to the right steps to take and the right action to take, that they're clear on what they're doing.
Mhm.
um, before they do anything. Uh, and I
And
think that
that's,
could be
I
a
feel
limiting
like
factor.
that's
Yeah.
like an assumption that they think that's what clarity is. I would
Yeah.
say,
And I
right?
think,
Because really we're making assumptions right at the beginning, but is that clarity? I don't believe so.
no, I don't think it is. I think it's, there's maybe a conflation between someone being clear on actions that need to be taken and confidence in the actions that need to be taken. Um, and and in there, uh, people get stuck.
So I think a good way, I guess, to just even understand clarity, maybe we should start talking about some of our stories and how we've seen our businesses evolve, and where clarity has become clearer in our business. Do you want to share one of your stories?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think it's important to realize that uh, most people aren't or cannot be, let's say, clear on what is going to happen. Um, I don't have a crystal ball. Most people don't, I would argue. I would say almost nobody has a crystal ball. And as much as we like to think we live in this magical world, we don't necessarily. So without a crystal ball to see the future, that's sort of a fallacy. We can't be clear on what is going to happen. Um, we can have educated guesses, educated assumptions, but we can't be clear on what's going to happen. But what we can be clear on is what we know, um, work we've done, our competency or our knowledge base, all these kinds of things, and that kind of shows up in how we evaluate decisions we make. For me, it's not. I've never had clear, or I've never necessarily felt like I had the most clear idea of what I was going to do until I actually started doing it. And it's through those actions and getting feedback from the decisions I make and the choices I make that clarity about what I'm doing or going to be doing kind of comes about.
Yeah, that's a
And
good point
it's
actually that
yeah,
you make. 'Cause I wasn't even thinking it in that way where, I mean, everything always starts with an idea. And even from the idea to actually getting that business started, there's still some in between that happens where you may or may not, right? Like in your case, maybe it was like the idea and you're just starting the business to already start just figuring out what exactly how this idea is going to evolve compared
yeah,
to, I feel like my story would be where it's I had an idea. It actually did evolve. I did do a lot of planning and I kind of had a very good idea of what it is, what the end result was going to be. But again, once the business got started, it completely changed, right?
Yeah.
So I think it kind
Again,
of works in both senses.
yeah, I think it's, for me, clarity was very much I have an idea, I have plans. So for me, it was doing consulting, business consulting around real estate. And, you know, this was my plan, uh, which may or may not have been lacking in a few steps, slash idea, uh, for a while, over a year. Um, I think the first run of, business cards I made for my other businesses had consultant down in there, and that was like 4 years ago.
Mhm.
Um, and it wasn't until I ended up taking actions or steps towards that specific endeavor, as opposed to the other uh, business endeavors I was doing, that I started to gain clarity on what it is I wanted to do. Oh, I would never be able to, even now, I'm almost like stumbling over it. I was never able to like accurately or clearly explain to people, oh, I'm going to do consulting for, this or that. But I never had a clear, I guess, vision. And it's because I wasn't taking action towards it. And once I started taking action, once I started getting feedback as to what made sense, sometimes there's just feedback, from my own self making
Your
decisions
own
as I gain,
awarenesses and stuff
yeah,
like
my own
that of what you're
awareness.
doing.
Yeah. Or feedback from other individuals. Did it become clear what I wanted to do? It became individual freelance consulting. Uh, then as I worked more and more on it, um, and getting more feedback from other like-minded consultants, it's turned into the startup of a firm, right? And that idea wasn't even part of my calculus in the beginning.
Hmm.
Um,
So even in your case, you're
yeah,
talking about, 'cause like you said, yours was a lot earlier idea, even before you actually started thinking about starting the business. It sounded like it was a very, you're in, let's say, in the middle of other things, and you're just like, but I want to be a consultant, but there's
yeah,
no definition yet. Maybe even you probably, it sounds like at that time, like you said, you weren't even ready, but you just knew that that's the direction you're heading in. It
yeah,
sounded like.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was part of where I wanted my business to kind of, as a whole, evolve into. And
That's actually a good point that you say
yeah,
that. That actually reminds me of even the evolution of my app, which I was thinking more when I actually made the decision of like this is being done, to kind of what you were saying, that a year earlier, actually from the start of this business, I actually had I wanted to get involved in AI. So I would say that was my general idea. I was like, I think AI is amazing and I want to get involved and I want it to be big. And my
mhm,
view of big is I need to partner up with people because because in real estate, my businesses are quite small. Like really, I can manage them myself, and they sustain themselves. But I was thinking, okay, now it's time to level up. And so I want like departments and things like that. Like it's going to be something a
yeah,
bit bigger. And to me, that kind of sounded scary. So my initial thought was, I want to get involved in AI. I have no idea how, but I want to somehow get involved and start kind of seeing people, see
yeah,
who is involved in this, who's interested, who's experienced, just trying to get the lay of the land in a sense. And and so that whole year was a whole learning experience, kind of saying, of just seeing how people work together, their ideas of what businesses are,
yeah,
seeing the mistakes going along. And it was not really until this year where I actually now made this. I'm like, I still want to be an AI, but I want to create an application. I'm an engineer. I'm a software developer. I did that I was in consulting and I did that and I did it for companies. So I have a good idea of how to build things and understand the needs of customers and I just dealt with a lot in the consulting world that it was something that, and I loved it too. I loved what I did actually before. So it was
Mm.
something that, and with this trial and error of like all of last year, seeing just what happened with these group of people, it actually gave me a lot of confidence in myself of knowing that I think I can't, not that I can do it myself, but I can because I still think that there needs to be a group of people,
Yeah. Yeah.
but it was more of for example, one thing that I do know is it with myself is I'm good at finding the right people. In this other scenario, they found me, and
Mm.
but it wasn't that really good of a fit. There was just like lots of little issues that were going on but I got to learn a lot through all the mistakes that were going on and the different problems. And especially when you start kind of giving predictions to things and
Hmm.
um, and saying like, oh, make sure we do this because this may happen. And so at that time, I'm just saying it, but do I fully believe it? Maybe not so much, right? Because again, this
Yeah.
is new to me and I could be wrong because these
Yeah.
other people
But
were more experienced than me.
yeah, but even there, it sounds like as you're taking action towards that, it was that action and that feedback that you're receiving that that's helped you
Build
get like,
confidence.
yeah, build confidence and get some clarity
Yes.
on where you want to go or what it is you want to do or how it is you want to do it, right? Um, I think without that feedback, like you still wouldn't know. You wouldn't have that piece of
Yeah,
information. You wouldn't have that data to
exactly.
to evaluate and make decisions off of. Um,
100%. And if I
yeah.
think, if anything, like with clarity comes confidence. And again, even at
Yes.
that point, I didn't have, let's say, clarity on the actual idea of what my business was going to be. But where my clarity came from was the pre step where I had concerns about, am I competent enough to start a business like this type of business?
Yeah.
What do I need to learn? What do I need to understand? So that whole year was basically a whole learning experience for me of just giving me confidence in myself that I can figure this out. I can find the right people to work with. I am pretty good at, let's say, identifying problems and finding solutions. Again, in our case scenario, the execution wouldn't get done, even though I would say things. But then even like that, finding the right kind of people that, for example, we listen to each other. Like lots
Hmm.
of different things that became very, very evident to me that was important where, I took all that information and then when this idea was ready and now it's like, okay, now next evolution, now I want to actually create this application and I had a very good idea of what I wanted to create what I wanted
Yeah.
this application to look like. But then exactly what you're saying, like, so I actually had clarity, I thought, right, of what I wanted, because I even had it on paper how I want this app to look like and everything. It was like I could see it very, very well. But what
Right.
happened was there, just because I had it on paper and I thought it was good, it was only really my perspective. But then
Yeah.
once I start bringing in other like that, once I start bringing in developers in, once I start talking to people just about the product and what I'm thinking to do, that's where, if anything, it like destroyed my clarity, right? Because I was like, man, I had this amazing app that I wanted to create, and really,
Yeah.
who is it amazing for? Just probably for me, to be honest,
Yeah.
not for actually a lot of people, or maybe I'm sure there were people that would be interested in, but it was just all of a sudden it just as you talk, you start realizing, oh, okay, there's actual
It's
things.
yeah, it kind of reminds me, sort of cut you off. It kind of reminds me of this you know, uh sort of saying or philosophy of you can make a plan and you can make goals, like life goals or life plans or whatever. And as you move forward in time, those plans should change,
Yeah, they
right?
will
Like
definitely evolve
they
for
they will
sure.
definitely evolve and change. And if they don't evolve or change, that's something that you should really look at because as as you take action, we're almost talking about the same sort of thing. As you take action and you get more data points, get more feedback,
Mhm.
um,
You
that
build that
equation
clarity.
changes. Yeah, the clarity change, like you
Yeah.
become more clear on what it is that you actually want to do, and some of these assumptions you may have had get refuted or get reinforced, whatever the case is.
Mm-hmm.
And the
Completely.
whole equation gets more refined.
Yeah. Because and it's also like you gain clarity. It's almost like you build up and go down, build up and go down, right? Because you gain clarity maybe in one area and you're like, okay, now I'm ready to start in this, right? Like for me, it was, okay, I'm starting to understand how the business, this type of business work. And so that
Mhm.
clarity was quite strong. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to build this app. And then the idea comes. I'm like, okay, this is the idea. This is how I want it to be built. This is what I'm looking for. I think this will be a great app idea. And then now it's like, okay, let me start talking to people about it. Let me
Yeah,
start talking to the developers about it. And then it's where, okay, that was an idea and
yeah,
it's like now seeing, do am I really building something that makes sense? And that's where the question comes in. Is there clarity in there? No,
yeah,
because I went asking to people and they started shifting my views,
yeah.
helping me see things where again in that area. And that has been actually a much longer process, to be honest, because
Hmm.
has gone through many different evolutions on paper and a bit also on like in the actually building the program out, because as even
Hmm.
you talk to people, but also mainly the developers, is just what, it's always been, okay, what can we do to also help their learning curve, but
Yeah.
still have the integrity of the base application that we're doing, right? So it's just
Well,
in their sense, it's their clarity is really that now they're trying to learn what AI is because they're app developers, but they're not AI developers. So they have
yeah.
a huge learning curve where they need to build that clarity on just that side of stuff.
And that input is going to kind of reverberate up the chain you know, to affect the plan as a whole. And part of what you're saying there that I kind of noticed was like you felt like you were clear on what you wanted to do and you had
Hmm.
some confidence um up to a certain point. And to me it sounds like that point like I think it's important to draw a distinction between sort of academic action and like real world action, right? Because like obviously you have a plan and you've taken action potentially. You've spent hours researching. You have maybe talked to some people. You've gathered all this information to formulate this plan, and that is not like that is that's not nothing. That's action that's been taken, but it's more academic, right?
Hmm.
Um, and for real clarity on what something is going to be, that clarity I feel like only comes from real like physical real world action. Like
100%.
action to move the plan forward, not to just formulate the plan. That's, formulating the plan is phase one, but to move the plan forward, that's a different type of action. And that's
100%. And I think
where a
that's
lot of
where the
clarity can come
problem,
from.
that's basically what the number one hurdle is, you're putting the idea together, but are you going out to get the proof of concept? Do you
Yeah.
Are
Yeah.
you
You can only
actually
feel,
building it, whatever it is, and seeing what people say? Are these things happening? Are you getting enough information out
Mhm.
there to actually know if this is the problem? So a lot of things, like they say, things get stuck in the idea phase, um, and they don't, and a lot of people just don't move forward in
Yeah.
actually taking those physical steps. What can I do to gain more confidence in what I'm doing? What can I
Yeah.
do to give myself that clarity so that that confidence and continually increases. And then
Exactly.
you just become more and more, and then you see yourself leveling up, you see your confidence increasing, and
And I think there's a bit of a fallacy in which a lot of people are are they're- yes, they're taking all this action and they will continue to take action. And similar to what we talked about last month, this kind of almost analysis paralysis, but they keep taking action for the academic part of it, action to formulate a plan.
Mhm.
And they're hoping that the clarity that they get as they formulate that plan is is what's going to be enough. That clarity is what's going to be enough to fuel their action to move the plan, like their
Yeah, their
physical
next
action to move
steps
the plan forward.
basically. Yeah.
But I think that that's kind of a fallacy. I don't, it, To me, the clarity that you might have in that planning phase is not going to be the fuel to take that
That's
plan
a
forward.
very, very good point. I think
Yeah.
people are always waiting that until I feel comfortable with this, will I take the actions?
Yeah.
But really, it's you have to take the actions to actually build that clarity, to
Yeah.
build that confidence in yourself.
That
100%.
fuel to take the action doesn't come from that clarity.
Yeah.
That fuel to take the action has to come from something else.
Hmm.
What that is, you know, the answer is it depends, I guess. But it's something innate to that person. It's their drive. What really is their drive? The clarity isn't the drive. Um,
The
and
clarity,
so
I
if
would
they,
say at that point, to be honest, is actually an excuse to not take action.
yeah,
It's not clear enough. It's not clear enough. No, what's happening is you're scared because this is
yeah,
something new,
yeah,
because this is something you've never done before, because you're treading to unknown territories, and
yeah,
and it's just scaring the shit out of you.
yeah,
So it's like, oh yeah, let me wait until I become more clear about it. But you will not until you actually start taking
yeah,
action.
yeah. The clarity will not fuel that action. It just won't. It
Mhm.
doesn't. It doesn't come from the same place, right? That action and to have that action take place is something else. It's not through clarity that action happens. It's through action, I would argue, that clarity happens, right? As you made that entire plan, you only gained clarity because you're taking all this action, researching, learning, you know, like talking to
Implementing,
people, implementing, creating a plan. It was only through the action of creating that plan that you had clarity.
networking. Yeah.
And it's only through action of of uh of doing the plan that you will have further clarity on what it is that
Hmm.
you want to do or what it is that
Yes.
you are going to do.
Yes, I completely agree. I think that that is exactly what it is. So I feel like we've basically given the solutions, but do you want to summarize up basically? So what is it? What do people need to do to be able to launch this business and, if anything, continue it? Make sure that it's something that can be something successful for them.
I think the simple answer, the one word answer is action.
Hmm. It is. It's something that we all seem to are scared to do, but it's definitely something that needs to happen because like we were saying, it's you're going into unknown territories. It's something that's
Mhm.
never been done before. And what do you have to do? You got to go exploring. And to go
Yeah,
exploring, you got to take those actions. You got to get curious. You got to get curious
absolutely.
about what it is that you want to do.
Yeah,
And to be able to just start finding really this idea, refining it out to actually something that does make sense
yeah.
for
I
you
think the
as a
only
business.
way to move forward is by taking action. The way that you fuel that action isn't by clarity. It
Hmm.
isn't by confidence. It could be by whatever your drive is. You said curiosity. That's fantastic. So
Mm-hmm.
many things in this world only happened because somebody was curious. They
100%.
took action because they couldn't help themselves, because they just needed to know why this, what causes that. They were just curious,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's family. Maybe it's, who knows? Could be a
Mm-hmm.
million different things that drive somebody.
Yeah.
But that
And even
confidence and that clarity doesn't come before the action. The action creates clarity. The clarity
and even
creates the
even in
confidence.
the phases of this is knowing yourself well enough, because actually it made me think of another person where they haven't taken action on their ideas because they're a person that needs to work in a team from day one. For example,
Mhm.
for me, I can build out things on my own, and then as it comes, I can start bringing in people, right? Because
Right.
I can self motivate myself if I have that passion for something. But there's other people where you have to also, that phase one may also be of the clarity is what do I need to be able to move forward in a business idea? And there are some
Yeah.
people that aren't able to do things on their own, and they need to, let's say, build the team first, and they need
Yeah.
to find accountability partners or something that where you have someone there that kind of helps you with that business idea. And then where do you go from there? So that clarity comes with, who are these kind of people that I need to have
Yeah.
around me, so it's
Yeah.
also, I think that that would, if anything, be knowing yourself well enough to decide what it is that you need to even get this idea up off the ground for you. So it's
Yeah.
just that learning about yourself also becomes very important too, because then it's clear clarity is just so huge because it's
Yeah.
really clarity in so many areas, and it's just knowing what is the first thing that's bothering you, like where is the fear starting to stem from, is it the idea is just scary, or or why is the idea so scary? Is it because you need to have people around you to help you, support you to work on this
Yeah.
idea, or is it because you just don't have enough information about the idea?
Yeah.
So there's also these kind of things. Is really, and that goes, that curiosity is like really, are you making it an assumption or not? Like, do you really know what it is that you're doing? Is this an assumption, or you're actually wanting
No.
to, yeah. So I think that is also something that is very, very important, is that again, that clarity is just not even related only to the business. It's where are you
No,
feeling
absolutely.
confused, right? Where are these problems coming from? Because it could be even like, I just don't have the time because I have like my family, I have my job, I have this. And then you're trying to figure out that, right now it's like I need
Yeah.
to get clear on
As
even how much
as
time do I have to dedicate to this, right?
exactly. As much as we'd like to think it, sometimes maybe, I don't know, I do sometimes. Where I'm like, you know what, I should be able to do this. I need to do this, this, that, and the other thing for work. I'm like, I'm a robot. I got this. Like,
Yeah.
nope. Like, I'm not,
You're like,
know.
oh, I have 4 hours. After work, I can definitely dedicate 4 hours, but you forget I'm burnt out, I'm tired.
Burnt out. Maybe I
Yeah.
need to go to the bathroom or
Yeah.
something. It's like, there you go. There's like amount of time gone. It's like, oh,
Like I
look,
need to
there's a
eat.
bird chirping outside and I want to have a coffee. And like, I mean, that's me at least.
Yeah.
There's 1,001 distractions between here and, you know, the kitchen. But it's I don't even know where I was going with that.
Well, the kitchen is so distracting, right? You're just like
It's
any excuse not to do the work, right? You're just like, you know what, I'm
yeah,
hungry even though I'm not, right? You're like,
and
I just
and
want to eat something because I'm like having a problem with clarity. Like I'm not clear on something
yeah,
and I'm stressed, and then you're just kind of like, how can I get distracted so that I can give myself a break of not thinking
yeah.
about this thing,
That,
right?
that's what it was. You had mentioned like, it might not even have to do with the work or the business, right?
Yeah.
Where you need to like reflect or put in some more action to clarify the plan.
or the
Um,
business itself. It can
the
be,
bit,
you know,
yeah, like
other areas
maybe
of
your
your
life is
life.
impacting this and what you want to do actually doesn't mesh with your home life or it doesn't mesh with your personal life or or whatever. Like
Seeing all the different
there's
aspects
yeah,
and
there's something there.
again bringing that clarity, for example, like that, can I actually do 4 hours? Yes, I can. I have the time, but is that realistic? Because I need time to relax, or I need time with the family, or
Yeah,
I need time to work out, and then you start, so it's, yeah, there's clarity in so many areas that need to be formed. And that comes to also being patient, because you think like, oh, I want to start the project today or the idea today, but there's this pre-work. Like, I did a whole
yeah,
year of not starting the business because I was working with other people trying to understand how to run a big kind of business.
yeah.
That was a whole
You know
year.
what? One of
Some
the
of it could
interesting
have been a
things I
waste of
came,
time.
yeah, one of the interesting conclusions I've kind of come to, or I'm at least flirting with, and is like for my business for consulting was, you know what? I don't think it would work for me in my life if I had to do consulting like every day of the week. I'm really bad for working on the weekend. And so I'm like, okay, when do I even want to do this? And so
Mm,
for me, that business and those actions, like maybe client facing actions at least,
hmm,
I'm like, those are going to be dedicated from Tuesday to Thursday. Like
hmm,
I think I'm a little wish-washy on it still,
hmm.
but I think I've settled on that. It's like, because
Yeah,
that's what works for me, right?
yeah,
And it's only through taking action where I'm like, wait, I don't actually want to be doing this first thing on a Monday, trying to like, I'm not helping a client if like my head's not in the game or like I
yeah.
still have like the fog of a weekend or something, you know?
Or you're just,
And so,
like, you're burnt out because because
yeah,
a lot of the times what happen is a lot of people, like, for example, in a coaching or client coaching sense, or in a
consulting. Yeah,
consulting sense, is also sometimes a lot of people like to overload themselves. So you have like clients every day, Monday to Friday, and then you start realizing like, where's my
yeah,
life now?
right?
And then you're thinking, yeah, how do I organize this in a way where you have that personal and business life balance
Yeah,
going on? So it's
yeah.
just, and
And
then it's like that, being
you're not
okay.
serving the clients and you're not serving yourself if
Exactly.
you're not, you know, doing,
If you're just
if you're
feeling
not giving
burnt
them
out all the
attention.
time,
Yeah,
yeah, being
yeah,
burnt out all the time because you're just not, you're because again, like, because it does take time, even in that sense, clarity, right? Because you think like, oh, I can do this, I can Monday to Friday, help all these different people out. And then you realize, okay, but how is that helping me? And like, that is my performance degrading because I'm exhausted, or because
yeah,
this is like not the style of type of work that I wanted to be doing, right? So it's just like
yeah,
all these things, and then being okay with, you started it this way, but you became clear on that's not really the best option for you as a person, and being able to adapt and evolve and
yeah,
realize that, okay, now that I've seen this, now that I've taken these actions, you start realizing, okay, this is probably a better process or option for me,
yeah.
or trying a new, yeah, trying something new to see if something else will work, because you're seeing problems with the current situation.
Exactly. And it comes down to the actions create feedback and more data points. Those data points and that feedback we can then use to further be clear on what it is that we want.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like brushing your teeth. Like you're never done. You're not
Hmm.
going to be done brushing your teeth. If I brush them today, it's like, oh, I'm done. No, 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 no. This is you reevaluate, you brush your teeth every day. You know, you don't get to finish, and
It's never done.
it's never done. And it's the same thing with taking action, reevaluating, processing feedback, and checking your clarity. You know, making sure you're
100%.
clear on what it is you want to do. Anyway,
100%. No, I think this was great. I hope, let us know what you thought of what we said.
yeah,
Let us know, your opinion if you think you have better ideas or if you have questions for us to clarify this more for you.
Mhm.
Um, because I think this is like that. This is something very important that I think we both thought was something that needed to be discussed. It is
Yeah.
a problem that is seen out there, and
And I
yeah,
think next month we're going to be talking, like, at least I kind of want to keep talking about this a bit more. So,
yeah.
but in a little bit of a different way where we're talking about what is the, the impact of that action really, right?
Hmm.
Like, what are different actions we can take? What does,
Or
what
even
is
the process around it,
the
right?
process
The
around it?
process
So,
around the action, I think, is very pivotal too. We want to make
yeah,
sure you have a good process in place that it doesn't become meaningless action or useless action. And you want to make sure it's purposeful action.
I agree.
Love it. So, yeah, if you guys want to learn more about that too, we'll definitely next month. Stay tuned for next month because we'll talk about that. And any final words, Matt, that you want to say?
Nope, nope.
No, yeah, I think we're good. I feel like we covered it well. So thank you, Matt. It's always so much fun to chat with you. And if you guys like what you hear, follow us. If you want, send us some comments. Let us know what you think, and we'll keep. And then we'll see everyone next month.
Have a good one.
Awesome. Bye, Matt. Bye, everyone. We'll see you in the next episode.